Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Friday Night StarCraft. I am the Dragooner and this week bringing up some more games from IEM Katowice 2023. I think this was probably one of the most anticipated games of the group stages from the round of 24. It is, in the bottom right, in the blue, Maru. And in our top left Terran, playing as the red player, it is Byun. Now, first of all, apologies for that rather terrible intro. Yeah, I don't know quite what happened there, but feel free to go yell at me in the comments about it. I should probably try and script that, but regardless. As I was saying, I am Katowice 2023, and I am also recording this away from home at the moment, so apologies if things have sound a little bit different. I know they look a little bit different, but that is the danger sometimes of trying to get a video out every week, and haven't really had any time to do any backfilling. So, we'll be playing TVT. It is personally my favorite mirror matchup, and part of that is just because I am a Terran player, I will fully admit. But I find I've always enjoyed the longer ranging, more positional nature of the fights a little bit more interesting than okay, to be fair, PvP can have some glorious, amazing chaos. From time to time, although most of the time I feel like it sometimes turns into a bit of a whose cheese is better, whose cheese works more effectively. However, you do get some of that from time to time in TVT. Sometimes just cloak banshees win the game, usually not so much at this level. And there's something about, like, yes, Zerg v Zerg is the absolute embodiment of just early game knife fight, but Maru runs in, attacks the command center. I'm sure that was definitely what he wanted to hit with his Reaper. Runs back away before the pair of Reapers of Byun can, I don't know, get Reapers nerfed again or something. Byun pushing across with a Hellion Reaper. Bit of an interesting combination. Not so much an interesting combination, but you don't tend to see huge amounts of Hellion Reapers in the early game, and yet this game both sides have down a decent chunk of them. Maru electing to build the CC in his main. Byun going ahead and putting down that slightly later, but doing so on location. Stargate's finishing up for both sides. The dance of Hellions and Reapers continues. A song of Reaper Hellion. And yeah, Byun building up that tank. Once that tank is done, he'll definitely be able to secure his natural, I think. However, until then, it might be a little bit awkward as the Reaper Flood and Hellion count continues to build for Byun. Neither are units that scale well at all, but does seem to be trying to take advantage of it in the meantime. Runs in, takes down a decent chunk. The units there, doesn't manage to get any SEVs, I don't believe. And both sides just pressing in and out. And grenades going off everywhere, but in the end, the tank will be enough to, allow Maru to begin pushing across the map, which he does immediately with gusto. However, he's going to be met by a Cyclone, he's going to be met by enough Marines, and I'm guessing he's going to have a Banshee appear in his... Yeah, judging by that path, he's going to have a Banshee appear in his mineral line, which, not going to go ideally, however, with... You'll also have a couple of Vikings maintaining control of the skies. SCVs coming forward. Medevac just preventing cycling from doing with, well, much of anything. Tank goes down, Cyclone goes down. Byun will be able to push this back, but will be forced to spend a little bit more on it than he would have liked to. On the other side, Banshee managed to grab 6 SCVs before going down to that Viking. It was fortunate that was in the area, so he'll drop a couple of mules to make up for it. You know what? Vikings zoning out much of anything. The tank marine dance continues. Vikings just zoning things back. Sable goes down on the tank, does manage to pick it up. Marines manage to run away. Vikings land. Liberator. Saved by the Vikings taking off again. Tanks. Continuing to trade shots. Vikings beyond will get blown up. Not much health on Maru's Vikings here, but they are still alive and living units still full damage no matter what. So this pressure will continue. The SCVs get pulled. I believe the one tank down. Second tank does manage to lift up and get out of there. Vikings will push into the main. Not quite sure how much they'll be able to get done in here. Tank dropped down in the main for a second. I'm not sure what that was. The hope of that was. Tank shelling across the bridge. Managed to chase those away. Maru's Vikings continuing to patrol. Third base is almost established now for Maru, whereas Byun had to build that in his main. He's not had a chance to send that out yet. Pressure continues. Sorry, the action mostly holds for a second. A few SCVs will go down here, but War Viking. But I think Byun's Vikings will win this, and when the ground army comes in, they definitely will. And there's only one Viking of Maru's will make it out. However, he will join the 2 Vikings he had at home, along with the few tanks and marines. Barracks explosion now going down for Maru. Byun a little bit later on his barracks explosion. Got upgrades coming one at a time for both sides. Now we enter the positioning fight stage of the game, where everyone has more tanks than they know what to do with, and well, not so much more tanks than they know what to do with, so much as enough tanks that neither side can really attack very well, unless one side stops paying attention and they manage to get a position at one end of the line and force that along. So Maru's going to take this opportunity to get his 4th, while maintaining control of the skies with some Vikings. Byun just tries to move on top of the Vikings here, and does manage to do so. Maru does make it out with 1 Viking. However, oh no, with the reinforcement Viking, now the advantage swings back the other way. The way that 1 Viking can make a huge huge difference. Combat shields now finishing up for Maru. Still a little bit away. Sorry, that's finishing up for Byun. Still a bit away from Maru. One attack will also finish up here momentarily for Byun. Slightly earlier. However, no real way of, pushing that advantage at all. Steam back has completed on both sides, so Maru managing to get the positioning advantage towards this fourth base here. Loses a tank, however, and probably loses several more Marines there than he really had to. Focusing a little bit too much on the Viking dance, I think. Or had a chance of losing all of those Vikings there, however, he does manage to force the cancel and run back away before those Vikings find themselves trapped there. Picks up the Viking, continues to maintain the air advantage, even picking up a few Liberators now. He's feeling confident enough. Marine runs forward and sees a bunch of tanks. And not a lot more than that. Meanwhile, Byun falling back on the old standard of just drop it like it's hot. And Maru almost feels like he's out there scouting for that drop and just hasn't managed to pick it up. Should have spotted it now, as these Marines are going to run in, deal a bunch of damage. Picks up 4 Marines, dashes back. Sorry, 4 SCVs. Picks up a few more as the boys get pulled there for a second to help deal with this. These Marines and tanks will finish cleaning this up. Meanwhile, in the middle of the map, positioning is happening. Liberators now being used to make things difficult for everyone. +1 vehicle attack will finish up soon for Maru. He runs down this passage. A lot of Marines have died. And honestly, I have no idea who won that fight. Otherwise, more Marines and tanks are moving around, trying to find that advantage. Liberator, excuse me, continues to find shots. And Marines continue to be sacrificed. Byun, well, positioned for a drop, big drop, and elected not to go for it in the end. Planetary Fortress going down. This is a 5th-ish base? I think this is a 5th for Maru, as Byun does now have his 4th up, though it wasn't easy to do. Loses a couple of Vikings there in the middle, but I think he did reset the Viking count. Yes. No Vikings now for Maru. Sorry, for Byun, who I think at this point is just electing to not. He appears to have given up on the skies. He's just planning. And to some extent, I think Maru has noticed this, as he's just switched into Liberators. Marines run forward, take down a couple of tanks. A lot of them die in the process. But Maru has a lot of tanks, and he has control of the skies. Those are two things that are very difficult to deal with. Especially when the whole map is kind of, axis of the map is kind of rotating around the planetary fortress at the moment. And he's able to send forward Liberators to just make it so that, well, yes, Byun managed to get 2 Liberators, but he lost literally every Marine he had for it. Meanwhile, middle of the map, Liberators getting to position. So many tanks now for Maru, and with the supply advantage that he has, excuse me, is 20 supply up in army. Liberators just able to fire down with impunity. However, that could all change now as Byun managed to sneak 3 medevacs into the base. Takes down 1 factory, took down a command center. Byun, Maru's entire army has had to turn around to deal with this. And he will deal with it, but, well, that's just stepping away. Meanwhile, in the middle of the map, one Liberator takes down about 5 tanks, which is really not what Byun needed right now, because he is hurting in the tank count. He's got half the tanks that Maru has, and several of them are quite battered. Trying to get in towards the 4th base and 5th base now, Maru. We managed to get some shelling done, but without control of the skies, it's going to be difficult to stop the Liberators from murdering tanks. Byun, Maru, sorry, trying to position on the flank. Loses some Vikings there. His Viking count really starting to get whittled down now as he just lost so many Marines there. I mean, Byun lost a bunch as well, but Maru really lost a lot of Marines there. Meanwhile, I saw Byun, yep, okay, they're heading back across again. We'll try and keep an eye on them as, meanwhile, the tank Marine positioning battle continues in the middle of the map. Marines... Byun's kind of struggling to decide exactly what he wants to do with this drop. He is going to send it into the main. He's run into a couple of Vikings. One of the medevacs didn't get anything off. The other one, well, 2 more went down with half loaded, and then this one will get absolutely nothing done. So that was a huge number of Marines there. That was 30 odd Marines that went down for almost nothing. Marines position in the middle. Maru running forwards. He's going to lose a huge number of Marines here. Not sure if he's won this fight or not as he loses some tanks now. Does bait Byun's Marines forward. And he's pretty much out of Marines now, so he can't push any further forwards, I don't think. He'll just get his tanks into the position he's looking for. Liberator runs forward, forces the tanks back. Meanwhile, there's a handful of Marines here at the bottom of the map, but they've got no medevacs and no health, so probably won't be a huge amount done. Liberator, port napping there, manages to pick that off. Marines, eat some siege shots. Those Marines have been cleaned up now. That command center can probably go back down again. Meanwhile, in the middle of the map, Marines run forward, manage to pick off almost all of those tanks. As a matter of fact, he did get all of those tanks in the middle of the map there. And if I'm not mistaken, yeah, the tank count has really evened up now. Very patient and decisive play from Byun there. Not often two words he get used together, but it really was just every time there was an opportunity, he took it, but he didn't force the opportunities to take down those tanks too much. As both sides now just really pumping out the Marines, trying to keep on top of what the other side has. Liberator not quite being able to make up what's happening there. Base here is going down now for Byun. However, Liberator will have nothing really to say about... Oh no, those Marines will not kill him. Oh, never mind, there was one more Marine. Yeah, no, those Marines will tell him to piss off and explain to him that he's not welcome in this part of the town. Meanwhile, Maru working his way around the middle. Byun loses that particular tank fight. And Byun decides that this base is probably not going to be defendable and floats off the command center. Yep, smartly done there, just realizing probably can't do much about it. Just decides to leave. I'm sure all of us have wanted to do that at some point in time. Just, yeah, this isn't working out. Just gonna leave. As tank fire rains across Maru's Marines. Fly count evening out here. Maru with a little bit of a bank. Has he forgotten he has buildings, or I don't usually see this long lapse without just the, you know, the Marine button being held down for a few seconds. Yeah, Maru wanted to go towards this, but didn't really have the army to do it. Meanwhile, on the bottom side of the map, Byun does have the army to do it. We'll run in here, take out this command center. Forces Maru to try to do the same on the other side, but really does not succeed, and he's going to lose 20 SCVs here, Maru, in exchange for 2, and not a command center. So Byun definitely getting the better half of that trade. And might well pick off a couple of tanks here in the middle of the map. That's worth the 10 or so Marines that takes. It is very well worth. And he's definitely got the income lead now. There's a few Marines in the middle of the map. Raven flies in and disables a tank, and then both sides run away. Tank goes down to Liberator. We have an upgrade lead here as well from Maru. Oh, huge anti-armor missile. Is he going to be able to do anything with it? He hasn't really got the tanks where he wants them. Byun forced to play a bit more passively, but as the Dorito missile wears off, hasn't really lost any units and hasn't been forced to give up any huge positional play either. As, okay. When in doubt, load up 6 medevacs, says Byun. He's just had enough of this positioning in the middle of the map and has decided to go for broke. +3 siege tank attack, because let's be real, that's all it's being used for in this game. Finishing up there as, well, there's 2 tanks in the main here now, and 30 or 40 Marines, I believe. Probably about 30 Marines of Byun. Getting right on top of all of the production here. Bunch of Marines run out purely for the purposes of dying. Meanwhile, the top left, 14 SCVs go down before he is forced back. However, the attack in the main is continuing. Nothing Maru's been able to do to force this attack out so far. However, catches Byun's SCVs in the middle of the map. That's going to hurt quite a bit. And just cleans up everything that was left in his main. However, losing a bunch of supply decoys over here, that's not ideal. Marines will come back in time to force this away. I'm surprised he didn't pick up there. Probably meant to, but forgot to. Big Marine ball for Byun in the middle of the map. Both sides' economy is really hurting right now, as Maru has a few mural patches here. This base is pretty well saturated. But other than that, he's not mining from a huge amount. There's a few more mineral patches here. He's probably got about 2-ish bases worth of income. And on the other side, Byun is losing all of his SCVs. And doesn't really have any much mining in position either. Multitasking of both players has really been off the charts here, but I suppose that's really what we come to expect of these two. Tanks seating up in the middle. Stand forward. But that is so many Marines from Byun. And yes, he is definitely at a upgrade deficit at the moment. But he cleans up this command center. That's very annoying. As a matter of fact, Maru has just not been able to control the bottom half of the map for quite a while now. Byun gets the Liberator sieged up. Pick up, well, 5 SCVs before very much happens. Both sides. Sieging up. Forcing stems. Middle of the map. Maru is the one a little bit more tied to his siege tanks here at the moment, as you've got half the Marine count of Byun, and Byun stems forward, jumps on top of all of these tanks. He's going to lose so many Marines for it. And as a matter of fact, he went from 111 Marines to 60 in about 2 seconds. That was hard to say if that was worth it, because on the one hand, he reset the siege to Kang. He reset the tank count. Oops, sorry. As Maru appears to be trying to get his medevacs caught out here, but he will manage to run back to the relative safety of this command center. But with what Byun has, that's very much relative and not absolute safety. As that's going to force a lot of repairs. Going to use a lot of Maru's gas and minerals there that he doesn't really have to spare at the moment. He's got exactly 2 siege tanks. They are over here. Got a little bit of a Marine lead at the moment, but yeah, Byun realizes that Maru can't defend this, runs in, jumps on top of it, collects a few reinforcing Marines for his trouble, gets some SCVs. Meanwhile, Maru takes advantage of this to run down to the bottom side of the map, where he will collect a base. He doesn't get the SCVs, he doesn't get the tank, he doesn't get the reinforcing Marines that Byun did, but he did get the command center, and well, that seems to be the key thing in this game at the moment, is getting those bases. So many Marines in the middle of the map going down for both sides. However, Maru managing to maintain the lead for now. The edge is out in front there. The upgraded lead is definitely relevant at the moment. Maru. Tank goes down. It's almost evened up the tank count, and he is well ahead in Marines now, so with a few extra workers, advantage definitely goes to Maru. Just really wants to have been able to get that base up, and just has not been able to safely get that base up. He's been able to corner the top right hand side of the map now. That's when the next fight is going to happen, as he Byun's Marine to run in. Got a big tank lead now. No one's really built air units at all, except there's one Liberator, and everyone's medevacs flying around. And medevac. And the dance continues. Medevac just forcing Byun to pull back here. Starts against dropping on top of those tanks over there. He wanted to, but wasn't able to quite make the angles work. Just slowly edging Liberator and tanks forward. Should be able to pick off this tank, isolated tank over here. Gets a bunch of SCVs, that's a big deal. Byun running across, feeling he needs to return the favor somehow. He might just get his army stuck here. The tanks are stitched up on the left, so he's got the tank support that he'll need. Kills a refinery. Gonna lose at least one tank there. And a marine. Oh, runs in, drops on top of this tank on the high ground. Yeah, that's worth 3 marines. That's definitely worth 3 marines. However, he really wanted to not lose his 3 tanks in the middle of the map there. Is he just gonna run into the main here? Decides against it. He might have been able to get something done, but considering this is his army, and he's not really got a huge... He's producing nothing behind this. He's got no minerals. He's only got a little bit of long distance mining, really. Going about halfway across the map. Whereas, yes, it's a very oversaturated base, but it is a base that Maru has at the moment. It's not pretty, but he can afford to have these marines picked off, as he's currently up 20 marines and 6 siege tanks. So all he really has to do, I feel at this point in time, is find this army and manage to trap it in a way in which it goes down. Tanks goes down, comes on top of the marines. Maru was looking the other way, realizes there's nothing he can do about this, and taps out of that game. 1-0 to Byun. Sorry, to Maru. We move on to game 2 now, as I remember to do the overlay. There we go. Very, very smoothly done, if I say so myself. We're on Dragon Scales now. Bit of a smaller map, alright, than Dresden. I will learn to say that one eventually. Was. However, still a fairly large map, so we definitely could see another knockdown slap out fight like the last one we saw. However, Byun has decided that Reapers are still a bit OP. So now, will Maru scout this time? It does not look like he is. Which means one of two things. Either he's confident and he's going to push across, or, as I kind of think is possible, he's just assumed that Byun is cheesing. And while I do agree that's probably the less likely option, it is the funny one. And, oh, he's not going to scout that at all. Now, he is scouting, so that's better than not scouting. However, he's not really got any idea that this is... apologies, that is Byun. Where is Maru's vision? Oh. Yeah, it is approximately now that Maru knows something is up. So, what do we see back at home? Factory has already started. The supply depot is here to watch the Reapers run in and out of the base. One Reaper completed. And Byun knows they have been built. Sorry, of course Byun knows. Maru, you know, I never thought of this. Yeah, Byun deciding that he does not like the looks of that and leaves. So now is he gonna? Yeah, he gets the Hellion immediately. Byun continues to build Reapers. And Maru feeling safe enough to whack down the command center now. Ah, yes. Byun noticed that, while yes, there were Reapers behind, the front door was wide open. Picks off, going for the units. Gets the Reapers. Hellion, however, is still alive. SCVs, going back to base. That Hellion, yeah, absolutely gets 2 Hellions. I think it's probably going to be a little bit difficult. But that doesn't mean Byun's not going to try. His command center is going down. It's on location, but it is considerably later. Meanwhile, he's just going straight for tanks, I assume. Behind this. Flies command center over to have a quick squiz at what's happening. This does signal to Maru that the transition phase has started. However, it's a bit difficult to work out exactly how this game's going to proceed from here. Medevac was the choice from Maru. The starport is still on its way beyond. And now the barracks is going to run back home, as this barracks is just going to be a pain. For Maru. And I think Maru has just come to accept this. And now, it would be funny to see him just go full Zerg here. Ooh, Reaver's run in just to make the clearing of the barracks a bit more difficult than it otherwise needed to be. They're running again. The Cyclone will scare them off, and I think this time, this barracks will in fact go down. Reaper's not going to try and save it this time. It would have been almost surprised he didn't run in to try and kill some SCVs while the barracks was being cleaned up, but obviously deciding that was a bit too risky. We'll instead go for Cloak Banshee, because if your cheese does not succeed, then cheese and cheese again. And for Terrans, that means Cloak Banshees. Across the other side, however, well, that's a Raven. So unless he commits even more to this, I mean, you can always catch someone who's relying on Raven for protection just in the wrong place. There is no engineering bay at the moment. Oh, second Raven even. Yeah, that's a little bit difficult to see how that doesn't work out for Maru. But there will be a Marine follow-up for Byun. And honestly, the worker situation is pretty even. Yes, he's a little bit more Reaper heavy for Byun, rather than actually useful units, and does have 2 Banshees. Yep, he's got 2 Cloaked Banshees ready to fly in. So I swear I heard a Banshee shooting, so that Banshee has a kill. The Banshees has been spotted. Cloak has not. It does have a double engineering bay now, however, does Maru. Probably going to save up his next scan, I suspect. He does a double Raven as well. He just, catches all the Reapers in the middle of the map. He's going to get 1. Secures his 3rd. Barracks is coming down. Refineries. Everything proceeding normally. However, the 2 Cloak Banshees take advantage of the Vikings moving out to run into the base, and 5, 6 SCVs going down. And unfortunately, he stopped paying attention. It's just targeted down the refinery. The Ravens are flying in and deciding to just get as many kills as he can on the way out. Meanwhile, at 3rd, Cyclone Reapers ran in. 20 SCVs of Maru ending up going down. And will he get the tank? No. No, that SCV just about manages to save that tank. However, I would say that 20 SCVs was worth the price of admission on that Cyclone, those SCVs, that Reaper. So Byun definitely has a chance to transition to the mid-game here. Is a little bit behind on that base, but he has the worker lead, and currently has an army lead as well. Maru gonna have to try and get some work out of these Ravens. Now, one of them does have full energy, so that is quite a bit of work that can be done. Byun, I'm not sure this is the best time to be sneaking around the side of the map. Well, Maru running forward, gets the disables the tanks. Oh, that's a lot of disabled tanks. Really using that Raven to get himself into position. Maru's attack does push into the natural. There's a lot of SCVs going down. However, Maru is also in the natural, cleaning up. However, the other thing is, Byun doesn't have any tanks, so he is getting cleaned up, whereas Maru now got himself firmly established in the natural of Byun, and I believe he managed to get that command center. Yes, he did get the command center while we were looking at the other side of the map, and is going to clean up this third. I don't really think any SCVs are going to get out of that. He did lose 32 SCVs in the end. Byun only lost 4, but Maru is mining, and Byun isn't really. There's long range mining there. That's about it. And also, Maru has an army. And we're not at the stage of the game where you can get away with not having an army. And as a matter of fact, Maru sees he's not even going to be able to reclaim his natural. Taps out of this one. And goes down 2-0. Certainly an aggressive game there from... sort of because Byun wanted to be aggressive, and Maru just kind of slapped him down, really. Regardless, that is the power of tanks, I believe. And Raven's putting in a lot of... So it's sort of like, it shows the power of tanks, because if you have 3 tanks disabled, you lose. That simple. Regardless, thank you all for watching. Please try to like and subscribe and all of that nonsense if you have, for some reason, actually enjoyed this content. And I hope to see you all next week. Goodbye.